Now, Oldham's famous Coliseum Theatre, which closed last year after more than 135 years of entertaining audiences, is set to reopen after a successful campaign to save it.
Yeah, the historic venue has seen a number of stars from the stage and screen tread its boards, including the actor Julie Hesmondhalgh. She's been speaking to our entertainment correspondent, Colin Patterson.
We have had Charlie Chaplin here, Stan Laurel, Pat Phoenix and Kurt Bride.
A lot of the Corrie cast. This is a feel-good theatre story.
Minnie Driver did one of her first jobs here.
Last March, Oldham Coliseum shut after almost 140 years. It had lost its Arts Council funding. But the actress, Julie Hesmondhalgh, refused to give up and joined a group called Save Oldham Coliseum.
We're very experienced at fighting and campaigning for things, but not very experienced at winning. So it was a real shock when we found out that the council had listened to us, because it shows that with passion and persistence, you can change the world. People power.
The council had planned to build a brand new theatre, half the size of this one, and it wouldn't put on its own productions.
Finally got a job.
Thank you. Julie's husband, the writer Ian Kershaw, was born in Oldham, and some of his earliest work was performed at the theatre. He's written tonight's episode of Coronation Street.
Would you have been able to do that without this place?
No, I wouldn't, because without this building and without theatres, there'd be no TV writers.
This is where Save Oldham Coliseum had their meetings.
Every 2 weeks, theatre lovers gathered above an Italian restaurant to formulate a plan, and they are overjoyed at the news.
I can't put it into words. I've just had a massive smile on my face ever since I found out. I think to have the Coliseum back will give everybody in the area such a huge boost.
And the owner of Valentino's agrees.
Oldham Coliseum is very important to us because it was our bread and butter, especially at the weekends. We've been here 27 years and we've seen a big drop in business since the Coliseum was closed. So hopefully, when it reopens, it'll bring a little bit of business back to us, keep us going for another 27 years.
Last night, campaigners celebrated with a street party outside the theatre.
That's so wonderful, because I did a play here, I did Misery here, so I loved it, and I just think it's a brilliant theatre, and we have to really support our arts and keep these regional theatres going.
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely incredible. It's amazing, and you know what? It's been a big secret, so we're just all here waiting for this amazing news. It's just going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful, and I know it's got to be something good because there's a brass band.
And the posters have gone up for the first production back. The pantomime in 2025. Oh, yes, they have. Colin Patterson, BBC News, Oldham.
Oh, you saw them in the piece there. Julie and Ian joined us on the sofa. This is really exciting news, isn't it, Julie?
A little bit of good news. What a wonderful thing, isn't it? I can barely believe that we're here talking to you about it, to be honest.
Oh, it's great. That street party, that happened yesterday. We were just saying, the only dry day of the week, pretty much. But
we couldn't believe it. We were ready. We were just like, a bit of Blitz spirit, you know, people are just lean into it. But it would have been really, really hard. So we had a full brass band, we had Indian dancers. It would have been really, really miserable if we'd have all been standing there in the pouring rain, although very Oldham. But
In keeping. How much time have you guys and all the others have been involved in this campaign put into this, making it happen?
Well, it's been a long campaign ever since the doors shut. Ever since the Arts Council withdrew the national portfolio status, which meant a withdrawal of funding. That's when the campaign started, and then when they closed the doors on the Coliseum for the last time. A group of really dogged and passionate and persistent Oldhamers, just theatre lovers, you know, not artists, started having these meetings in Valentino's, in a little room above it, and we joined them. And it has just been about petitions and letters to MPs and emails to the council and organising things just to keep it in the public imagination, because I think people had given up, and I think that we would have run out of steam a long time ago if it weren't for these amazing people. We're just the face of it. They have been incredible, and they've spoken truth to power, and power have listened. The council have been amazing.
And I mean, what's interesting when you see that piece, I mean, obviously you're in the acting fraternity, writing fraternity, but this is a real community place, isn't it? So it's not necessarily for the people that are going to act, that are going to write. It's for everybody.
Absolutely. And, you know, and I don't want to downplay the importance of it as a place of employment for artists, technicians, backstage crew, you know, because it is a huge employer in Greater Manchester and beyond. But yeah, Oldham Coliseum is a very special place, and it's very difficult to convey that outside the region. You know, it's a place that people have real ownership of. It has a history spanning absolutely, you know, decades and decades, and people feel very, very connected to it in a way that I think is very unusual.
Yeah. Ian, there's a lot of work that's got to be done though now, hasn't there?
Yeah.
Physically to the building. What needs to happen?
Well, come along with a paintbrush.
Ivers on. But it's not just painting, though, is it? It's not just cosmetic.
No.
There's some structural stuff.
I think there are different phases. So the first phase is getting ready for Panto 2025, and then it is all of us coming together, the ownership of the theatre, the partnerships with the other organisations, and all pulling together to get this Coliseum new and improved and fit for purpose. It's really exciting.
But the auditorium's in pretty good working order. I mean, you know, the building report that came in said that, and we need seats again because they've been stripped. We need a lighting rig. You know, there's a few quite essential things for a theatre that need to be replaced for sure. But actually being in there yesterday and seeing it, it didn't feel overwhelming at all because she's in such good nick.
She. I love that.
Yeah. She, of course. Of course she's a she. Surviving all this.
We should explain to me, because we didn't, that you two are together. You're an item. So does it feel like she...
I know, I've not been called that for a long time.
But does it feel like that theatre, she, is yours? Like you know...
Well, we feel ownership.
Yeah. But like everybody in Oldham, it's ours, you know, and everyone in the region, it's our theatre. We all own it.
Yeah. And I think that nobody could really anticipate the outpouring of love and absolute sadness when it looked like it was going to be closed forever. And I think, you know, we've got the media to thank a lot as well, because you didn't let up on it. You know, I think that people were quite surprised that 2 weeks after the closure, people were still talking about it because of what the Coliseum represents. There's a lot of conversation at the moment about access to the arts, especially for working class people. People from backgrounds like ours, people from less advantaged backgrounds, and that's a huge national conversation about what art and culture means in education. And Oldham Coliseum is very much part of that conversation because it is a working class theatre for working class people, and so many people have started there that wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So it's part of a much bigger conversation about that as well.
Talking about the power of campaigning, we can't have you on and not talk about Post Office inquiry. Of course, your pivotal role in Mr Bates versus the Post Office. 6 months on, have you kept in touch with sub-postmasters, kept across what's happening? What do you make of what's happened since then?
Well, it's been extraordinary, hasn't it? I mean, the inquiry has been just must-see viewing, and I know that people wouldn't have watched it in the droves in the way that they have done it had it not been for Mr Bates versus the Post Office. And again, the power of drama, which we talked about before when I've sat here with you, is just the way that a drama can capture people's imaginations and really... I sort of kickstart people's empathy about things, I think, and so it's been wonderful to see the reaction to it, but horrifying, of course, to see the absolute carnage of some of the responses to the questions in that inquiry. It just beggars belief.
And Mr Bates, now Sir Alan Bates. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's so brilliant. When I heard about it, I got in touch with Suzanne, who I played, you know. Suzanne Sercombe, Alan's partner, straight away, and was like, okay, lady Suzanne. And she's like, I mean, they just can't believe it. But they're just such humble people. It's always been about the campaign for them, and you know that from having, you know, met them yourselves. It's like, it's just an incredible thing for the campaign that they're getting the recognition that they have. And again, it's just such an example, like the Coliseum campaign is, of people power.
Lady Julie, Sir Ian, thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Lovely to see you. Congratulations.
It really is.